और किसी और सारे भाई सब ठीक हो। लास्ट टाइम वीडियोस को लास्ट टाइम मेरी पहली मेरी वीडियो इतने व्यूज़ पार करके गई है भाई। मेरे को बहुत खुशी है कि मैं धीरे धीरे आप लोग मुझे सपोर्ट कर रहे हो। आज हम खेलने जा रहे हैं शर्लॉक होम्स द ऑकवेंड। देखते हैं कैसा गेम है। मैं अभी पहली बार खेलने वाला हूँ इसको। शर्लॉक होम्स की मैंने मूवीज़ बहुत देखी हैं, मेरे को अच्छी भी लगी थी। और एक वो आई थी ना, आयरन मैन वाली, जूनियर क्या नाम था उनका, एक्टर का नाम भूल गया मैं। उसकी थी मूवी शर्लॉक वाली, मेरे को बहुत अच्छी लगी थी, वो भी मैंने देखी हुई है। तो देखते हैं गेम में क्या क्या है। आओ शुरू करते हैं। ओ फुल हुआ है, ओल्ड लुक दे रखी जैसी मूवी हम आया करे शर्लॉक होम्स की। चैप्टर 1 द शैडो ओवर लंदन, बैक स्ट्रीट।
Dr. Watson, would you kindly close the door behind you so that we can limit the price of your carelessness to merely hours of work rather than days?
My apologies, Mr. Holmes. I found myself rather taken aback. I saw tidy houses in war-torn Afghanistan.
टॉन्ट मार रहा है उसे।
I ran out of tacks and the matter required immediate
किस
attention.
चीज़ का इंजेक्शन ले
Was
रहा
that my
है?
son?
Plainly not, for I was the one who ate it.
I set it aside for this evening.
And for that I am grateful.
Is that my bed?
Watson, since you've proven yourself a master of observation, might I ask you to apply your skills to a more pertinent question? Namely, the whereabouts of today's newspapers. They are the key to everything. A newsboy is usually reliable.
Medically speaking, I often find that the key to everything is good sleep. In a bed. Your papers are here, on the table.
Let us see what the postman brought today.
पोस्टमैन क्या करना है? वेलकम टू गेम, यूज WSDA टू मूव, प्रेस माउस लेफ्ट बटन टू इंटरेक्ट विद, L टू स्किप।
This mess is getting out of hand. What will the landlady think? Most of us put our thoughts to paper, not to walls, Mr. Holmes.
कहाँ जाना है? न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना है ना। London advertises September 20, 1822. Tensions between England and Sweden are running high after a series of unfortunate mishaps. During a recent visit to London by Swedish Princess Ildur, chief among the scandals was the embarrassment of the British diplomatic corps. As a result of the unexplained disappearance of Princess Ildur's personal bodyguard, the long-time member of the inner circle took the opportunity to explore London while off duty and never returned from his late night promenade. Okay. A spokesperson for the police assured the advertiser that they are confident that bodyguard will be located as he is striking representative. The Scandinavian people, a man like that gets a notice whether ever by its peers at the gentlemen clubs or the fair nightingales who comfort them. समझ ना आया।
Local gossip, all of it uninteresting. Another letter from Werner. They never reply, but they keep coming. Your order from Barnes' bookshop has arrived, Doctor.
क्या है?
Barnes insists on delivering the books to our door, even though
बुक आई है
we
वो
can
इसके
easily
लिए
walk to
from
his shop.
Barney's.
Good service.
ओके बस अभी के लिए इतना ही।
I don't see the Strand. Where is it?
Pardon me?
I am on the precipice of uncovering a pattern of crime across London spanning many months and involving many men. The missing paper cannot be a coincidence.
That's preposterous.
My dear fellow, life is infinitely stranger than anything which the mind of man can invent.
Well, life used your newspaper to wipe its posterior, so after that unpleasant discovery this morning, I disposed of it.
सीरियसली इनके
But
बोलने
if
का
you
एक्सेंट मुझे
understand,
समझ नहीं आ
perhaps
रहा.
I
मैं
could
तो
deliver you
नीचे से
something
भाई
equally
इस पर पढ़ लगा रहा हूँ.
I have just
Subtitles
returned
पे
from a
था.
patient of mine, Captain Stemwick, who...
No, that will not do. Grab your coat, Dr. Watson. Let us hope nobody has collected the dustbin.
डस्टबिन में क्या चाहिए अब इसको? The strand is missing. Okay.
The dustbin is yours for the digging, Mr. Holmes. Don't look at me. If you want the newspaper, you'll have to get your hands dirty.
Where is the dustbin, man? हाँ तो अच्छा जा सकते हैं क्या? इधर तो नहीं है कुछ भी. It's rainy today. Why not dress in something more appropriate for the weather? Open the case book with C and navigate to the wardrobe tab with the tab and put the hat. Hat चाहिए इसको. ले भाई बाहर रेन नहीं है. ग्राफिक्स तो ठीक ठाक सही लग रहे हैं मुझे, मतलब इतने गंदे नहीं कह सकता मैं. बेकर स्ट्रीट.
You were mistaken, Dr. Watson. The paper was indeed dirtied, but not how you implied. It's potting soil. You were mistaken, Dr. Watson. The paper was indeed dirtied, but not how you implied. It's potting soil. A cactus spine. If it gets in your skin, it's awfully tricky to remove, and when laced with poison, the perfect assassination tool. See, Watson? The conspiracy is real. Someone tried to poison me.
Poison? You? That's madness. Do you even have enemies that would want
Left
to
shift
kill
to
you?
run.
Okay, perhaps from Cordona.
Get the strand. Get your copy of the strand here.
How about that Vogel fellow? He seems rather obsessed with you. Would he do something like this? Why go through all this scheming to murder you? A spine stuck to the newspaper is hardly lethal.
Sorry, Mr. Holmes. I just sold my last paper.
Blast. Then why are you still here?
Boss pays by the hour. No sense in returning early.
What happened to my newspaper?
You're a bright child. I presume you see everything that goes on around here?
Nothing gets past me, mister.
Then tell me, did you notice anyone suspicious at my door this morning?
Like the man with your newspaper?
Precisely. What do you know?
I know the value of a shilling.
Dr. Watson,
Cool, now I can take the day off.
What did he do with the paper? Tell me about the man on the doorstep, where he was headed.
did you see what he was up to?
Nah, not really. I saw him approaching your house, but I had a customer. Then there's a loud bang. I ducked down. Not because I was scared, because I wasn't. I had to protect the merchandise. And all I could see was him kneeling at your door.
Kneeling. Where was he headed? Tell me about.
Can you describe the man you saw?
He was carrying a lot of books.
Lot of
Up
books.
to his chin they were.
Never heard of a well-read assassin.
Looks can deceive. Hence the appeal of disguises. Which way did he go?
Not sure. I was distracted by customers.
Sorry.
Sorry.
All right. You earned your shilling. That'll be all.
Thanks, Mr. Holmes.
हाँ,
Maybe I
English
could
का
be your
accent
eyes
उतारे
and
भाई का
ears
भी बहुत
if
बढ़िया
you
है.
have more shillings.
You have got a question in your mind
Get the
place.
strand.
Open
Get
the
your copy
cash
of the
book with
strand
C,
here.
then negative to the mind place. Inside, select the relevant pieces of the evidence and do the answer. Cactus pine potentially poisoned. Barnes, the local bookseller. Mr. Barnes is involved in the scheme. The newsboy said the suspicious man was carrying a stack of books, and his morning, Mr. Barnes, the local bookseller, delivered a novel from Dr. Wilson, a cactus spine for assassin, a loud bang. A visit of Barnes is in order.
Come now, Mr. Holmes. Murder?
Get the
Yes,
strand.
Barnes has his
Get your
quirks, but
copy
he
of the
also has
strand
his
here.
scruples. Not every pawn knows it's part of a game.
You can pin the evidence from quick access from the C case
Get
book
the
and pin the
strand.
evidence
Get your
with
copy
a
of the
bookshop
strand
photo
here.
by pressing X. Try to find a bookshop.
Get the strand. Get your copy of the strand here.
A ruined newspaper is hardly the end of the world. We can always buy another.
Pawn shop.
Get the strand. Get your copy of the strand here.
Magistrate court. Twist manners. Smoking tobacco. Drugs, piano and organs. बुक शॉप तो नहीं दिख रही यहाँ कहीं मुझे. इस तरफ में तो नहीं है बुक शॉप.
A ruined newspaper is hardly the end of the world. We can always buy another.
Barney's bookshop among deliveries. बुकशॉप ऐसी दिखती है. पिलर्स में लाइन है. बार्नीज बुक शॉप कहाँ है? वो रही सामने, दिख गई.
A ruined newspaper is hardly the end of the world. We can always buy another.
Observe. Bags under eyes, the effects of overwork. नीचे नहीं जा पा रहा मैं. Ink, newspaper ink. Legs heavily on his right leg, sore of left leg. high heels wants to look taller. Mr. Barn has a large bag under his eyes, the result of poor sleep and stress. He has developed a limp, likely the result of an attack. He wears high heels to look taller or stronger, presumably to deter future violence. Mr. Barnes is being threatened by someone and might be involved in a plot.
Mr. Barnes, a word. Oh, for goodness sake.
Who goes there?
Sherlock Holmes. Now will you please?
Mr. Holmes. Sorry, I did not see you coming.
Would you care to answer some questions for me?
I wish I could, but I am deep in the weeds with work. How about we reschedule in a month or two?
Come now, Mr. Barnes. It will only take a moment.
Really deep in the weeds with important things. Well, help yourself to any book. Just take it a pay later. I trust you, Mr. Holmes.
Barnes doesn't seem like himself. Why is he acting this way?
Barnes
You're
doesn't seem
asking
to
the
like
right
that
questions,
doctor.
Doctor. Let's find a
Press
way
Z to
coax
highlight
him
the
out.
interactive areas in the environment. Z.
The ladder is broken recently, judging by the freshness of the wood. So, Barnes has a dog now. Who's a good boy?
Barnes has always been a little odd, but this is uncharacteristic even for him.
A catalogue of exotic plants on Barner's counter. The name of the catalogue reads everything plant, every last plants of everlasting love.
Basics of cryptoanalysis, cryptography in Egypt. Pierce Barnes has an interesting hobby. I could hardly imagine anything more macabre. Finest view London has to offer. In the language of Mycroft's secret agents, it's a sign. Dried flowers are replaced when the job is done. An improvised stand, but it does make the flowers more visible.
Sherlock Holmes की तरह सोचना होगा. ये क्या चाहता है? क्या कह रहा है ये?
We're looking for a cactus needle in a haystack. A spine in a book stack? No, come on, Watson, think.
Apologies, but I can't hear you. Please come back later.
I like bookshops. One of the few spots in London where you are shunned for making a racket. Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight? Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
Book from Barnes. Cactus pine potentially poisoned. Exotic plant. Why Barnes acting so silly? मैं कुछ तो छोड़ रहा हूँ इंटरेक्शन के लिए, समझ नहीं आ रहा क्या.
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
There is a bouquet of dead flowers in the window of Barnes' bookshop. It placed on an improved stand made of pile from a pile of books. It seems that Mr. Barnes wants to make sure that his flowers are clearly visible. Mycroft agents use similar signals to communicate with each other. Cryptology books at Barnes. टारगेट करने के लिए होते हैं, किसी से बातचीत करने के लिए. किसके सामने जा रहे हैं सीधा यहाँ.
The weather is dreary, isn't it? To be fair, my flowers could use the rainfall.
Hello there. What's your name?
Lily, I know, not very original. I should have worn something warmer. People don't tend to come out for flowers when it rains. Perhaps I should try selling door to door. Have a look at my flowers. They will not bite, unless you touch their thorns.
Encouraging people to stop and smell the roses?
Our national emblem. God save the Queen.
It must take patience and care to produce a bloom so beautiful.
I imagine so. I merely sell them.
Familiar spine? That's what I found in my dustbin. Familiar spine? That's what I found in my dustbin. Pot is damaged. The blow was severe, but softened by something.
Anything tickle your fancy, Mr. Holmes?
Wearing makeup for beauty and concealment. Decent look, avoid eye contact or distracted. Mooring boat honoring deceased husband. Luxury fabric unusual from work attire. शख्सा हो रहा है इस पर. Clean boots, change shoes upon arrival. Mr. Fleming used makeup to hide her tear-stained cheeks. Her dress is made from expensive fabric that is not suitable for outside work. Her shoes show no traces of mud. She must have changed them when she arrived. While she tries to bury her grief by dressing extravagantly, she still wears a mooring brooch in memory of her late husband. Her gaze always staring off into the distant rivals and emotional detachment. Taken as a whole, one must conclude that Mr. Fleming is still reeling from a tragic loss.
My condolences, Mrs. Fleming.
Mr. Holmes?
Your husband's death. You're clearly still in mourning.
Oh no. I loved him more than anything, of course, but that was some time ago now. Life goes on.
A lesson we all learn, one way or another.
Provide evidence.
One of these things is not like the other.
Come again?
The cactus. Those fearsome spines can prove a devil to remove, and the sap is often toxic.
And a rose thorn can give you tetanus, but we still grow them. The cactus seems comparatively harmless. Though you have me thinking it must be valuable.
I was under the impression that you knew its price already.
Your guess is as good as mine. The first time I saw this cactus was when I came back from my break.
गेम बहुत दिमाग का है. Claims she doesn't know how the cactus appeared on her display. She went for a break. When she came back, it was there.
I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller.
What do you make of the flowers in Barnes' shop window?
Well, they could use a bit of water.
Do they mean anything to you?
Mean anything how? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Holmes.
Why do you think they're there?
Are you suggesting the flowers are for me?
It seems likely, does it not?
Oh, I hope you're right.
I'll be off.
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight? Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes.
Are you familiar with Mr. Barnes?
Yes. No, not really. Well, in a way.
What on earth does that mean?
I know who he is, of course.
But
we haven't shared much more than a look.
A look?
Yes. Each morning I go for a walk in the park with my dog, and most days I spot Mr. Barnes there with his new puppy. So we see each other. Actually, we once met briefly while our dogs played.
He was
He was
quiet and seemed unsteady
as he approached.
but since then we have never spoken.
We've never spoken. I often see him staring through the shop window. Sometimes I wonder what he thinks about that would etch such longing into his face. Have a look at my flowers. They will not bite unless you touch their thorns. Have a look at my flowers. They will not bite unless you touch their thorns.
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
Why Mr. Barnes is in love. Barnes displays a bouquet of dead flowers to attract the attention of Mr. Fleming, a florist. He may hope she will come back into the shop and give him a watering advice, or it simply a symbol of dispression. Barnes has anonymously gifted her a cactus which he ordered from the catalog on his counter, a questionable choice, but for Barnes a symbol of his eternal love, since the catalog presents these cacti are immortal. Plainly, this is the same cactus he dropped on the Strand outside to Baker Street. Now to hear the full story.
I think perhaps I have been chasing shadows.
Do not despair, Mr. Holmes. Even the best of us make mistakes. We better tell Mr. Barnes what we've learned.
Mr. Barnes, I know what you did, and I know why you did it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Holmes. I can't hear you very well from behind the door.
You ordered a cactus from the plant catalogue and then left it for Mrs. Fleming as a gift. You place flowers in the window to get her attention and wear high heels to appear taller and more desirable. You are her secret admirer. I couldn't read this morning's edition of The Strand because it was covered in soil and spines. I know you dropped a cactus on it and then fled.
Barnes, it's Dr. Watson. Rest assured, we are not interested in disclosing your personal affairs to anyone, including Mrs. Fleming. Please come out.
All right then.
प्यार था भाई अगले ने.
So, you know what happened then? I was on my way back from the post office, having picked up the cactus and some books. It was quite an awkward package, heavy too, and when I got to your door, I dropped the cactus and your paper. Forgive me.
I needed that paper to prove a theory and prevent a crime.
Your
Your actions were rather disruptive. Your clumsiness carrying the post is matched only by the clumsiness...
Oh, it's true. I am useless with this sort of thing. I'm not even sure if Mrs. Fleming noticed.
This isn't in my area. I know what to do.
As in most things in life, truth is the answer. Cease with the obtruse signals and anonymous gifts,
and simply talk to the woman.
What is the worst that can happen? She rejects you, and you are freed from this endless purgatory.
That... Yes.
So at last...
I don't recall, but you're welcome to read our copy for yourself.
You had an issue of The Strand here all along?
Well,
So you ought to be...
I...
Yes, yet...
The strange and deceptive rocks. Locals of the port London and the river.
Come, Dr. Watson. Let us put this matter behind us.
Farewell, Mr. Barnes.
This
I hope to hear good
investigation
news
scene
about Mrs.
completed. चलो भाई करते दिया किसे डाला इब क्या करना है इस तो कुछ पूछना है क्या
Let me know if there's any way I can make it up to you. Tell you what, tomorrow's edition of The Strand is on me.
Well, that was an utter waste of time.
An assassination did seem rather unlikely.
There was supposed to be another burglary. I was certain of it. Something you wish to say, Doctor?
No? Well, only that you have a remarkable faculty for deduction and pattern recognition. And
भाई
perhaps, if elected-
है तो देख कुछ भी कहो यार
I
दिमाग
see
का गेम
things
तो यो
that
है
are not there.
Yes. It is.
मजा आ रहा है
There
पर
will always be
मैंने इस
burglars.
आदमी की मूंछ बहुत बढ़िया लग रही है यार
So it seems. Forgive me. Without something to occupy my mind, I turn into an entirely different animal.
Which brings us back to my news.
Truly.
Indeed. Yes.
It's...
Oh. Not much further now.
Is this lousy attitude of you, sir?
So, why has the police department decided not to help?
We investigate that set.
Have there been... Of course now.
Captain,
I
When did...
Kim is
Did you say... It,
under should
did Kimmy...
heavens
Still?
no
Tell me about...
his
Tell me about...
his foreign he doesn't
Did Kim...
have
Still...
no
Alright.
go ahead.
investigation scene found Captain Stenwick is the last mentioned nearby. It's located in the same street and Barnes shop.
Could have left these tracks. They seem fresh. A scrap of
कपड़ा
hissing.
अच्छा और ये लकड़ी के बॉक्स टूटे पड़े अड़े क्यों
These were sturdy boxes. It would have required a serious blow to break them.
बहुत तेज धक्का देना पड़ेगा जब जाकर ये टूटेंगे किसी का मुंह बन रहा है
Impressive.
मैं
The sack of grain retained the
Picture.
shape of an impact. Someone hit their head here. A small navy spyglass.
अच्छा
Clothes made of hessian. Is Stenwick really so miserly? The ashes are long since cold. Bottom chops, the remains of a meal. Lend me your nose, Doctor. Ah, I'll never forget that smell after my time in Afghanistan. That's an opioid, Mr. Holmes, a narcotic. No air coming through it. Is this a tanifa, a Maori water spirit, or something else? Either way, it's giving me chills. The rag reeks of smoke. Someone plugged the chimney.
गेम तो सही है यार, दिमाग बहुत लगाना पड़ रहा पर इसमें।
Are you joking? Why would I know this? Are you joking? Why would I know this? I thought you were meant to be intelligent. Where on earth are you going with this?
I came across a pile of Hessian clothes in the shack. Are they Kimihi's?
Yes. I had to give him something to clothe himself. He seemed unfazed by his bare skin, but I found it distracting.
Is this spyglass familiar?
I don't recognize it.
Could it be Kimihi's?
I doubt.
A shoe print, roughly size 11, with a worn-out sole. These are a workman's boots. Chewing tobacco. Looks like a new print. Someone knelt here. The amount of chewing tobacco suggests they were waiting a while.
Amazing, Mr. Holmes. To read the ground like an open book.
This lock is quite unusual. It appears that the key should be bent to the right. The door to your garden has an interesting lock.
Yes, I have uncommon locks on every door of my mansion. It makes them harder to pick. Kimmy here and I both had a set of keys.
I'll need to borrow them.
No, you'll need to do what I tell you to do. Examine the garden.
Do you happen to know Kimahir's shoe size?
I wouldn't have the foggiest. But I'm sure it was enormous. Not that it matters. He spent his life barefoot. Despite my best efforts, he simply did not take to shoes.
Has Kimahir ever indulged in tobacco?
No, the man doesn't even drink.
Are you certain? I found chewing tobacco in the garden.
I controlled Kimahir's expenses since he struggled with the currency. I would have known if he used tobacco.
The back door to Captain Six's garden has an unusual lock. It appears that the key should be bent on the right. Steen says that only he and Kimia have the key with a unique lock. Behind the statue, someone had been chewing tobacco while hiding. Someone timed there were words as high as 11 shoes. 11 unknown persons can be found behind the statue, judging by worn the out of sole. The footprint belonged to someone else. गेम का काम नहीं समझ में आ रहा मुझे.
Stenwick makes his servant live in a tool shed. You think he knows?
तो खुल गया ताले वाला रास्ता खुला ये टायर का निशान समझ में ना आ रही तो कुछ होया ना आवाज ये अच्छा हाँ यो है ना पैरेलल ड्राइव गोस टू ऑफेंड is similar intact near the Kimiya's shack. Bag of logs and fallen.
Someone moved a cart to this spot and then took it elsewhere. Can't see it anywhere in the garden.
पहले वाला गलत है शायद पहला स्पॉट कौन सा है ये भी गलत है
Surveilling from afar, the intruder waited for a window of opportunity.
अच्छा पहले
When Kimmy went to sleep, the man crept up to the shack and slipped narcotics down the chimney pipe, then blocked it with a cloth.
अच्छा
Kimmy inhaled the sedative and fell into a deep sleep. The intruder tried to move him, but the man was heavier than expected. The intruder fell on the sack and dropped his spyglass. In order to transport the servant, he had to use the cart. The final challenge was opening the garden door. Luckily for our intruder, Kimmy had the key in his shack.
क्या बात है भाई साहब इस दिमाग खराब कर दिया मेरा
You'd best have found something by now, gentlemen.
I fear that someone may have spied upon Kimmy here.
अच्छा
Likely the owner of the spyglass I found earlier. It appears they were watching for some time, as there was an impressive amount of chewing tobacco on the ground.
And your point?
You said that you checked the shack earlier. Did you notice the cart tracks near it? Now one ought to expect.
I expect answers from you, Mr. Holmes, not questions.
I found the residue of narcotics in Kimmy brazier. There are several explanations.
Cut to the chase, Mr. Holmes.
I'm almost
I won't
finished
keep you in suspense when you're sir.
Now, hold. I'm not interested.
Captain, you are so,
Well, and... Why are you still here?
Stenway makes his servant live in a tool shed. You think you know someone.
इसके आगे कहाँ गया होगा वो सारे गेट्स तो बंद है दूसरी तरफ और जाकर देखता हूँ रास्ता दिख तो नहीं रहा यार यू आर रेडी
Sturdy rope, professionally tied in a Portuguese bowline. This knot is often used by sailors to create a bosun's chair. Salisbury.
Space D.
That be the name of our man. A strange substance. I have my suspicions based on the color and consistency.
Had a
But
guess,
would you
Doctor?
care to hazard a guess, Doctor?
Well, it's odorless, but from the way it absorbs water, I'd say saltpeter.
Then we're in agreement. Well done. Wheels picked up grass along the way. Timothy's cart, I gathered.
Investigation scene completed.
A large pile of horse droppings. Any cigarette butts? Someone stood here for hours. There was a cab waiting here. Our abductor slipped in and then off into the night. Can you satisfy my curiosity?
A lady doesn't know about such things.
Yes, Denwick is no angel, but he's one of my few clients. Please, try to remain courteous.
If you find my man, I have a marvelous whiskey with your name on it.
भाई रे दुखी हो गया इस गेम ते बहुत लंबा गेम भाई तो हो गया अब क्या करना है
The
देखें
saltpeter accident. Doctor, do you recall?
The Port of London. Of course. The footwear, the spyglass.
there's not
Indeed. We shall need to take a cab there.
कैब लेनी है हमने ये कैब है ना
Where to go? The Port of London, please. I will show you where
where
to
to stop ट्रेन कोयले वाली इंजन तक है तो भाई आज के लिए इतना ही अगली वीडियो में देखेंगे कितना वो रह गया किसने कौन किडनैप करके ले गया इसने अगली इसमें देखते हैं ओके बाय बाय थैंक यू बाय गाइस लाइक कर देना मेरे कमेंट में सब्सक्राइब कर लेना सॉरी ओके गाइस आज के लिए इतना ही अगली बार मिलते हैं